This is my Metacommunication Speech. Recently, I watched a TED Talk called Synthetic Voices as Unique as Fingerprints by Rupal Patel. She talks about electronic voices used in devices for people who can't speak. I will refer to these people as the mute people, the mute society, and the mute community throughout this speech. Rupal Patel's speech is about how she is developing voices to fit every mute individual. She has inspired me. The construction of unique synthetic voices will positively affect the mute society. Today, I will be covering the electronic voices and what they are, how to create electronic voices, and the impact of these electronic voices on the mute society. So first of all, let's talk about electronic voices today. Electronic or synthetic voices in this world now do not reflect all mute people demographics. One familiar electronic voice we all know is that of Dr. Stephen Hawking. For those unaware of who he was one of the smartest people in the world. He communicated using a speech-generating device that supplements for speech and writing because of his ALS. Dr. Hawking died at the age of 76, but throughout his entire life, his voice did not change, his electronic voice. Just one example of how electronic voices are not ever always universal. This is also made known when Rupal Patel witnesses a conversation between a 50-year-old man and a young girl, both using the same speaking devices with the same voice. This would make our heads turn if that was their real voice. Rupal states, "We would not put an adult prosthetic limb on a child, so why would we give them adult voices?" Next, all electronic voices are monotone. People with real monotone voices suffer a lot of the same problems. So let's talk about some of the struggles of being monotone. People can never tell if you're okay because you have no emotion in your voice. You have to reassure people that you're excited about something and overcompensate with your facial emotions. People are never sure if you're sarcastic or not, and they can't tell when you're trying to be sarcastic. No one can tell when you're upset or mad. It's very hard to comfort somebody when your voice is monotone. These are just a few monotone issues. Also, today's electronic voices offer a very small selection of tones and varieties. While there are many more options now versus back then, most are middle-aged and male. There are also many electronic voices in different languages, but again, most are middle-aged and male, according to Jordan Kinzer. Next, I want to talk about how Rupal will make these voices. So to talk about that, I have to tell you how our voices actually work. Our voices consist of two parts. One is called the source, and that would be our voice box, which produces the vibrations, the tone, the pitch, and the volume of our voice. And the second part would be the filter, which would be our mouth, our nose, and our head channels. And in order to make a voice, you have to have both of these parts, and they have to both be in working condition. So, we can actually record a mute person's voice who has not had their source destroyed. So a lot of mute people's only their filters, like their mouths, their holes, their channels in their head are destroyed, and they still have what we call the source. To put them together, all we need is to record a mute person as they're making sounds. They don't have to say words, just making sounds. And we can take a surrogate filter voice, so somebody that's willing to donate their voice, and read a couple recordings for a couple hours online, and put those two together so that the source and the filter work together and produce the mute person's actual voice, what it would sound like. So, lastly, let's cover how this impacts the mute community. So, these voices that are produced will reflect the mute community's actual demographics. So their age, their race, their accents, things like that. The mute people will be happy that they sound like themselves, and this can boost confidence and make them more outgoing, make them actually want to talk more on their electronic devices. Overall, I'm glad to have shared with you what electronic voices are, how to create them, and their impact on the mute community. If you want to donate your voice, all you have to do is read some passages, mostly sentences, for a couple hours. Go to Vocal ID, that's vocalid.ai, and read a couple of those, record your voice, and you can personalize a voice for a mute person that is like your demographic. So, thank you.